Hey, what's up, guys? We're back. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody that subscribed to my channel. Really appreciate it. I'm so happy that you guys are going to follow me on my journey, and this is just the beginning. Thank you for all the follows, the likes, and all the comments. Thank you for all the comments that you guys have been giving me. And this is just really motivation for me to keep going. I thank all of you for joining the channel, and let's go on my journey. So we're just going to start off. I'm not going to blame anyone or anything for the choices I made in my life, but we're just going to get right into it. And, I just believe that I was just a bad kid from a very young age. Had the best examples I could have had. My parents did a great job, the best that they could have done with me. I was just a kid that was gonna be out of their control no matter what they did. I believe they could have sent me even to boarding school, and I probably just would have left and went somewhere, would have ran away. So I believe that your story is written from day one, from the moment you're born, and there's probably a couple stories written. Certain points come in your life where you have a moment where you have to make a decision. I just believe that I made a wrong turn on my path and went down the wrong way at a very young age. Luckily, I was able to overcome all the obstacles that I put in front of myself, all of the bad decisions I made, and I was able to come out alive from a prison after almost being murdered, after going through, several beatings, tortures from guards, from other prisoners, drug addiction. I've been through the worst of the worst. So this is just the beginning. We're going to get right into it. I'm going to say probably around 6th grade. Town I was living in, one of my best friends was from Uruguay. His name was Javier. May he rest in peace. He died of a drug overdose. He had an older brother. And this was the rap era where, Wu-Tang Clan came out, and Method Man and Redman, all these, these rappers were all over MTV. These are people that we looked up to. We wanted to dress like them. We wanted to be them like them. He was walking around with Philly blunts in his ears, cracking blunts open. I was so young, I didn't even have any idea what that was about. But I would soon find out. With my friend Javier, I went over to his house, and his older brother was there. I believe we were about 12 or 13, and he was like 15, 16 at the time. And we walk into his room, and he's there, and he's got a gun. First time I've ever seen a gun. It was a small .22 pistol. Never seen a gun before in my life in person. So I was, shocked at a very young age, and asked to hold it, to see it. He made sure there was no bullets in the chamber and there was no clip inside of it, but either way, very dangerous situation for some young kids to be having a pistol in their hands. And I wanted to buy this pistol off him. I was, obsessed with it. I wanted to hold it. I wanted to have it with me. And this kid eventually ended up selling me this pistol. So now I don't know if I was 12 or 13, but now we're going to school, 6th grade, with this pistol in my book bag. My parents didn't know. No one in the school knew except for my boy Javier and his brother, which was the one who sold it to me. Just crazy. And then my close group of friends, I would show them this pistol after school in this wooded area where we would go and chill out. It was behind some houses. So, it was a nice little area where we had some privacy. And we would go back there and we would think we were in a movie. I would pull out the gun, hand it to one of my boys. We didn't have any bullets, so there was no danger really. But we would stand there, pose with the pistol and this and that. We thought we were just in a movie. Luckily, no one ever snitched on me about having this pistol. And I did, crazy enough, I was carrying this pistol into school every day, and no one had any idea. I never thought about, shooting up a school, or my intentions were never of hurting anybody either. I just wanted to hold the gun. I wanted to have it. I wanted to have it in my possession, and I just thought it was something that was cool. But think about it, young 12, 13-year-old kid with a pistol in his book bag going to school every day, taking it home, nobody even knew. Um, After that, eventually, Javier's brother would come back to me and say he wanted to buy back this pistol, and he wanted to give me a box of Philly blunts for it. I had no idea what they actually used Philly blunts for. All I knew was that Method Man was promoting these Philly blunts in his music videos. I was watching these videos, and he was my favorite rapper, and I wanted to have these Phillies. Yeah, so pretty much, I wanted these Phillies, and he told me, he was like, "Bro, I'll give you this box of Phillies." I think it was 50 Philly blunts in a box at the time. He was like, "And we'll trade it back for the gun," and that's what I did. And then me and my boys, my close little group of friends, it was like 4 or 5 of us. It was me, Mark, Kurt, Javier, and I think it was Richie. Yeah. And we would just all go to this wooded area, and we'd be lighting up these Philly blunts. Like if it was like, if, I didn't even know they were supposed to be used to smoke weed in. I was still young, didn't know about it. And we were smoking these cigars like if it was cool. In my head, I was like, God, this is disgusting. It just smelled horrible. The taste was disgusting. Got me dizzy. But, I thought it was the cool thing to do at the time. So that's what we were doing. So yeah, throughout 6th grade, I was getting in trouble a lot. I was getting into fights. I don't know what was going on, but I was getting into multiple fights. I would get suspended. Wasn't doing my homework. I got suspended so many times, in fact, that around the 3rd or 4th time I was going to get suspended, the principal of the school was like, "Listen, we're going to suspend you, but it's going to be an in-school suspension, and you're going to sit in my office at the corner. They're going to set up a desk for you, and you're going to do all the homework that you haven't done throughout the year. We're going to get all this work prepared for you, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to be doing this while you're in school." And that's what I did. And then after that, I learned my lesson, stopped fighting, and just did what I had to do to get through the year. So graduate that year, and just so happens my parents move to the other side of town, which now means I'm going to a new middle school. And I walk into this middle school, first day, 7th grade, and I meet another kid from Uruguay, which his name was Sergio. And we immediately, we click, and we're talking. We got a couple classes together. Lunchtime, he's like, "Bro, what are you doing after school?" I'm like, "Nothing." So he's like, "Bro, you should come over." So that's what we did. After school, went over to his house, walk in, and his bigger brother was there. His older brother was Al, and I believe he was about 17, 18 at the time. We were about 13, 14. And Al was the drug dealer of this part of town. He was selling bud to everybody. He had the beeper, because we had beepers back in the day. It was basically his beeper just going off every 5 minutes, him running down to the payphone, calling these people back and getting what do you want? How many do you need? And then they would just come to his house, swing by. He'd go downstairs, sell to them, and then just go from there. I started going after school, hanging out with Serge and his brother, meeting a lot of older kids from the high school. And this is where I started, experimenting with drugs, like weed, with them. I went to my first rave. We went to clubs like Palladium. We were doing the Friday burst nights. We went to Limelight. If anybody knows about the Limelight back in the day, 96, 97, these clubs were off the chain. It was crazy. They were the biggest clubs in New York City. And there was just a massive amount of drugs being sold and moved inside these clubs. And this is where I would just enter this world as a very young kid, because we knew a DJ by the name of, what was his name? DJ Doc Spin-A-Lot. If he's still out there, George Valverde, hit me up, bro, so we could do a couple podcasts. We had a lot of crazy times. But, yeah, I start experimenting with drugs, acid, Special K, all kinds of things. My parents really have no idea what's going on. They're always working. Hard workers. My mom had to open up the deli, I believe, like 5 a.m. And, she wouldn't come home till like 9 p.m. And she'd come with my father, because after my dad's job, he would go over there and help her close up. So they were constantly working, and I was at home by myself, just partying away with these guys. Now, start getting arrested. I got arrested with Special K at the age of 14. First person in my town. The cops had no idea what this Special K was. They actually thought it was cocaine. And funny story, I was on my way to a rave, and I tell my boy to stop at the house. So I lived on a one-way street. I tell him to park at the end. I walk to my house. I go inside, and I get I forgot the tickets to the rave. So I go inside, grab the tickets. When I come back out, there's a cop at the car on a bike, which I didn't know was a police officer, or else I would never approach the car. But it was summertime, and he was on a bike, and he was like leaning up on the car. And I thought it was just somebody that maybe we knew that was riding on the bike that passed by my street and saw him. So I'm walking towards the car, and all of a sudden I see a flashlight come on, and it's this cop, and the cop knows me, and he's like, "Oh, Danny," because yes, I used to go by Danny. My name is Oscar Daniel Castro, but I hated the name Oscar growing up, and I always used the name Danny. So yeah, everybody knew me as Danny when I was growing up. And the cop knew me. He's like, "Oh, Danny," he's like, put your hands on the car. He jumped off the bike and immediately came to search me. He searched me, found, I believe it was 3 jars of Special K, and each jar was a $100 jar. And he arrested me, and he had me handcuffed on the curb at the bottom of my block. Now, while all this is going on, he called for backup. There's more cars coming. They took the kid out of the car that was waiting for me at the corner, and they basically had us all there. There was a bunch of cop cars, and then all of a sudden I see lights go to turn on my block, and yes, it's my mother. She's coming home from I don't know where. I think they went shopping or something, and all of a sudden she sees me handcuffed on the corner, sitting on the curb, and she stops the car. She jumps out. She's like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And the police officer's like, "Ma'am, we got your son with cocaine. He's selling cocaine. We got these jars on him." And I pretty much just looked at my mom and was like, "Mom, listen, don't believe them. It's not cocaine. They got no idea what they're talking about." And she was just like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" And they told her, "You have to go to the police station, and you'll be able to get your son then." Once we got to the police station, obviously the police tested it, and this was not cocaine. It was Special K. They had no idea what it was. They were asking me all types of questions, like, what is it? Where did I get it from? What is it used for? And it was just, to me, it was pretty much funny because the cops that I told, it was not cocaine, they didn't believe me at the time. And then at the end, I was like, "You see, I told you guys it's not coke. You guys locked me up for no reason." And I ended up getting out on that and never got really any charges because Special K was not illegal at the moment. So, yeah, that was just one of the times I got locked up. Then another time I got locked up for selling weed. I had possession of weed. Another time right by the school. Got hit with the, intent to distribute within 1,000 feet of a school. And we had to go to the court systems. And I think I got hit with this program where I had to go to Newark. And I had to go with my mother there. It was just ridiculous. But yeah, so we ended up going to that program. Finished it. I think it was like a 90-day or a 120-day program where I had to go. I think it was 2 or 3 times a week, and just to talk about drug addiction and abuse, and there were other people there that would stand up and talk about things that they've been through, and it was just crazy. I mean, really didn't learn anything from it, but yeah. Then my parents decided to up and move because, oh my God, I'm just getting into so much trouble here. I'm getting arrested left and right as a minor. The cops in the town know me already. I'm also having some issues with some kids from the high schools. We beat some kids for some weed. And I mean, I was just doing all kinds of like crazy stuff. I just really didn't care about anything. My parents end up moving, and this is where we move. I believe we moved to Elizabeth, New Jersey. Yeah. So we move over there, and that's where, I decided to drop out of high school because I was just, wasn't feeling the move. Getting to a new high school, meeting new kids, and it wasn't for me. I never liked to study from the get-go. Never liked to do homework, and it was always cutting classes, things like that. So decided to tell my parents, I'm not going to go to school anymore. And pretty much my father was like, "All right, if you want to drop out, that's on you, but you're going to have to get a job. You're not going to be just some lazy kid hanging around the house. You're going to have to start doing chores in the meantime, and you're going to have to start looking for that job immediately." So that's what I did, and then that's where I basically end up at this Barnes and Nobles, going to work 5 a.m. in the back of a van with a bunch of, illegal immigrants. And this is where I met this kid, G.